Hello, my friends, and welcome to Youth Potential, a channel dedicated to helping young people with mental health problems. I have two books available, 102 Distraction Techniques and Self-Harm to Self-Harmony. Both of these books are only available on Amazon. Thank you very much for watching this video. Hello, my friend Scott here representing Youth Potential. Today we're going to be talking about a very controversial subject in the world of self-harm and mental health, and that is attention seeking. You guys voted on this video for attention seeking actual versus a cry for help. I was a bit worried that that video was going to win, to be honest, because I know that if I did a video on this, it was going to be somewhat difficult to talk about. There's going to be some divisions amongst you guys as to who believes what, who is attention seeking, who isn't, and you know, it's going to be difficult. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about, in my opinion, what I think is attention seeking and what I kind of think is a cry for help. Okay? Anyway, so at the time of making this video, I have a poll up on my YouTube channel, which you guys have voted for. I've got about 126 votes at the moment. And I ask you guys, do you think in the mental health community that there are people that are actually attention seeking? Yes or no? And 64 currently % of you said yes, that there is that, and the other 36% have obviously said no. So it's quite interesting that there are, you guys still think that there is attention seeking amongst all of us in the mental health community, or if that's what you want to call it. Honestly speaking, I would vote yes on my own poll. I do think that there are people that are attention seeking. However, let's not treat the term attention seeking necessarily as a really bad criticism. Let's not treat it as a label for someone who doesn't deserve help, because it's very easy to put that sticker, that label on someone and say that they're attention seeking, and then we begin to kind of not respect them, and that's not necessarily the right thing to do. Okay, but I'll cover all that in the rest of this video anyway. So, attention seeking. Now I'm sure you guys all agree with me, when it comes to self-harm and any form of behaviour relating to mental illness, like symptoms, that kind of stuff, it's not fair to say that it is attention seeking. Okay, generally speaking, most people that self-harm will hide the fact that they've self-harmed, and anyone who is struggling with mental illness will do their best to kind of bottle it up, to hide it, and will generally only talk to a few people or no people at all. So if you guys who don't suffer with mental illness are watching this, you need to understand that most people are actually trying to hide it. Okay, it's not attention seeking in general. Okay, so forget that label, that attention seeking stereotype, because 99% of the time, it ain't true. Okay, it's not fair to say that someone's attention seeking just because they've started cutting themselves or that they're bashing their head against the wall. You know, things like that. It's not fair to say it's attention seeking because, as I say, most of the time, it isn't. So, how can you tell if someone is attention seeking or not? I've thought about this for a little while now, and it is difficult. And as I said earlier, you guys are, you're either going to agree with me or you're just going to disagree with me. There's no... this is difficult, and I've really struggled to make this video and even put my notes together to be able to make it, because it's not... There's no such thing as always and forever on this kind of thing. There's no rules that say this person who does this and that is attention seeking. Okay? But as I said before, I generally believe that the majority of people who do struggle with mental illness aren't attention seeking, but there is that small gap in the market, that minute figure of people that are. And also, as I said earlier, let's not treat them with disrespect. Okay? I personally find that a lot of younger people who are kind of don't really know how to communicate their problems, young people who, I don't know, just haven't learned from mistakes yet, you know, that are still quite young in their early to mid-teens, they're the ones that I find the most who are falling into the category of attention seeking, if you like. And I don't want to say all of you are doing this in that age group, okay? Please remember that I'm being diplomatic as possible. I find that the younger people are more likely to be the ones that are actually falling into this trap of attention seeking. And as I say, let's not disrespect anyone who is doing that. Now, the hardest thing the reason why it's really hard to determine if someone is attention seeking or not is because you're not a mind reader. You can't possibly know someone's intentions or motives for what they've done to be classed as attention seeking or not. Okay, you just can't. Okay, as I say, there is no rules. But anyway, let's just. It's going to be hard for me to talk about because I know some of you guys are going to disagree with me, but I'm going to tell you 3 things now that I personally think could be quite attention seeking, or if I see these things online or in real life, I don't have time for that person because I feel that they're not going about it in the right way. And no, you guys aren't stupid, okay? You know the right thing to do is to open up about your problems and talk about it. But anyway, this is what I think is this could be classed as attention seeking, this kind of behaviour. So people who are posting on the social media or talking about it in real life, who are constantly talking about and posting their problems constantly, day in, day out, okay? Nothing ever seems to go right for them. They're just constantly posting all this kind of stuff, and they're not willing to either ask for help or they're not willing to listen to people who are trying to help them. I think that can be seen as quite attention seeking. As I say, it's not all the time, okay? I respect that, it's not all the time. But think about someone's motives. You're talking about your problems all the time, okay? All the time. If it was a cry for help and somebody actually wanted to get help, you would start listening to the comments that people are giving you, the advice that people are giving you, okay? You start putting all your problems out there, and then people are trying to help you and you're just arguing with them all the time, or nothing's ever going to go right and all this kind of stuff. It just don't look good, okay? It's like you like the drama, you like your life to be full of drama, and that's not healthy, okay? And that's why I personally think that can be quite sort of attention seeking. The second thing that I think is quite attention seeking based behaviour is people who treat their amount of disorders, medication and trips to the hospital as kind of like an achievement, basically. It's nothing to be ashamed of, absolutely not. Mental illness is nothing to be ashamed of. I'm the first person who'd happily put their hand up and say there's nothing to be ashamed of. But at the same time, I don't understand why you need to act as if you're bragging about how many times you've been an inpatient, how many times you've been to A&E, all these different types of medication you're on, and all these disorders that you supposedly have, okay, whether it's a formal diagnosis or not. I don't think you need to advertise it in a way that makes it sound like you're arrogant, okay? No. It's when I go on social media and I see people who've in their profile listed the amount of times they've gone to A&E, the amount of times they've tried to commit suicide, how many days clean they've been. You know, you get this big whammy of all this personal information. I'm trying to see this people's intentions there, their motives, and I'm just thinking, you kind of seem like you want to brag. Again, I'm not saying that's always the case, but why would you list those things in such a way as if it was like a CV? You know, you make a CV to get a job because you want to show off who you are, what you've done, what you've achieved. It almost seems like the same thing when you're listing all these things, and just, yeah, I'm sorry, for me, I think that's quite attention-seeking based behaviour. As I say, not all the time, but that's what I think. And the third thing that I think is attention-seeking based behaviour is people who say they're going to do something, like I'm going to do this to myself, I'm going to do that to myself. And when I say something to themselves, I mean self-destructive behaviour. Honestly, the first time I ever went to commit suicide, I think that was a real attention-seeking based time. You know, I told my friends, I wrote them letters and all this kind of stuff. You know, looking back deep down, I did want them to stop me. It was me trying to get their attention. You know, it could also be seen as a cry for help. You don't know. Maybe cry for help and attention seeking can almost overlap and be the same thing. But regardless, I think if you're really going to do something like that, you don't generally tell people. The amount of times I've actually tried to end my life, I have not told anyone, and then I've done the act and then it's not worked, and then people found out afterwards. If you're going to do something, you generally don't tell people about it. Okay, you only tell people about it because you want people to come and say to you, no, please don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. Okay, if you actually wanted people to stop you, you should be reaching out and asking people for help. And this is where I think the fine line between attention seeking and a cry for help really is that people who want help will ask for help. People who want attention will just dramatise their situation. I'm sorry, I know some of you guys watching this probably don't agree with me, but that's honestly what I personally think. It's my opinion. Okay, I've been around long enough on social media and in real life to see a whole bunch of people with a whole different problems. I've been in hospital and out of hospital. I've seen all sorts of people with different mental disorders and their behaviours, and yeah, I can really see a fine line in difference. I'm not always right, okay? I'm not a mind reader. I can't see everyone's intentions, everyone's motives, but yeah, I just think those three things are the signs of a bit of a giveaway. Yeah. Yeah, as I say, guys, this video wasn't easy to make at all. But yeah, let me know what you guys think below. If you guys disagree with me, that's absolutely fine. Like, I encourage you guys to disagree with me. You all have your own mind. You all have your own opinions. I try to base every opinion I have upon facts through things that I've looked at over the years, that I've experienced. I don't just say things for the sake of it. I have a reason for why I say these things. So yeah, as I say, guys, don't, if you're struggling, ask for help, okay? There's always a person or a service that is available at some time of the day to help you, even if it's just for you to vent to them, okay? There's plenty of phone lines, there's obviously all the professional health services, there's people in your lives, there's always somebody, okay? Don't fall into that stereotype of being an attention seeker, okay? We want to kind of eradicate this whole attention-seeking stereotype in our community. Just don't help add fuel to the fire, okay? Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. All the best. Take care. Bye.